We're going to get some rolling credits for the end of our video here. And to start with, we've actually created a template for you. So when you go to the criteria for the short film, you'll see that one of the requirements under the criteria slide here is that you're doing rolling credits. So there's a link there. You can click. It just jumps further on into here into what we call the rolling credits lesson. So this video will actually be here in case you need to watch it. But over here, you're going to download just a credit sample template. Now you can modify this as much as you want, but it's a nice starting point. And it basically has, your group members, who directed it, who edited it, who starred in it, and other things like music and where it was filmed and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this to start. So there we go. And then I'm going to go to Premiere. And what I have to do is I have to take my text tool. Now, normally when you're doing text, you just click and type, whatever you want. Well, not in this case. What we want to do is we actually want to take the text tool and we're going to click and drag a text box. This allows us to contain a whole bunch of text altogether. So I'm going to hit Control V to paste. And you can see here's all my credits. Now the problem is that there's more credits that I can't see. So I have to adjust the size of this box. But before we even get into that, I'm going to go back. I'm going to click on this, and when I go to properties, this is where I can manage all the properties. If I hit Control A, I will select everything. So this is a quick way that I can change the font size, I can change the font type, I can just kind of do everything all at once. Now some people will say, oh, well, I'm just going to, I'm going to make it all really small so they don't have to roll. You don't want to do that. That's too small, right? So they should have a decent size to them, something like that. And then, of course, you modify colors and all that stuff. The key here is we have to make it roll, and you don't need to keyframe it to make them roll. What you do is you select your credit or your text here, or your text box or text block or whatever, and make sure, what most people do is they click on this so they can edit all the properties. Unselect it. So if you click down here and you're not selected on this at all, you now have a new option down here, which is roll. So if I click roll, you can see I now get a scroll bar, which shows me what it's going to look like when it's rolling. The problem is my credits, if I go back over here, I know my credits go down to special thanks to, and over here they stop at Devin. So something's not working. When you use the actual select tool and you've got the rolling option checked, right? It's rolling. You'll see that there's a plus sign right here in the bottom right. That plus sign means there's more information or more text in there. So I need to extend, and I'll just drag it down, extend my credits down. Now, when I go back to this, the rolling will give me everything. And, I can start typing in stuff now. So I'll just go in there with the text tool now. My group members are Dan, Ryan, and Rob. And it was directed. Maybe one person kind of took the lead on directing. We'll say that was Dan. Now, ideally, you kind of want to space these out nicely. So you can hit the tab button. This was edited by Ryan. Okay, and then starring. Okay, maybe Ryan was Avery and Aaron was Blake, etc., etc. So you fill in all that information. Now, where it gets a little kind of, not tricky, but you now have to be able to get to the bottom of that. So you can just use your scroller over here to different parts of the clip, and you can see it just goes really nicely, right? So I can keep doing all these edits or whatever, and I can tab them over and make it look really nice. You can change the fonts if you want. You could even separate out credits. Like I could remove credits there and I could add my own title for credits. Maybe I do something like that. And then I take the text tool up here and I just type credits and I make that really big. So you get a few options, right? But what's happening is the whole thing will scroll. I'm going to get rid of that little title for now just to keep it a little cleaner, but you can play around with that. Okay, so here's my credit reel now. And when you play it, it goes at a certain speed. If you lengthen that, it goes slower. If you shorten it, it goes faster. So you don't want them to go too fast, but you don't want them to go too slow either. And some people will add in a whole bunch of extra credits. That's fine. Other ideas, some people will actually put like a blooper reel off to the right. And then on the left, they have everything just scrolling, right? So as you're watching the credits, you kind of see a blooper reel, which can be kind of fun. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. It's all edited in there. And we just want to make sure that you have shown us that you have the understanding to do rolling credits.